I tell my doctor this and he goes, how the are you alive, you know? Why are you breathing? I'm a biological miracle as far as he's concerned.
Ozzy Osbourne has just passed away at the age of 75, but it's not just his sudden death that has everyone talking. A newly released autopsy report has revealed unexpected findings that have stunned fans worldwide. While the Prince of Darkness built an unforgettable legacy, his life was marked by countless battles. But what the autopsy uncovered goes far beyond what anyone imagined. For years, the public only saw the surface. Now, buried secrets are being exposed. So, what did the report really say, and why is it sending shockwaves across the globe? Stay with us as we break down the most startling revelations from Ozzy Osbourne's autopsy. Autopsy reports. Although the official cause of Ozzy Osbourne's death hasn't been released, the rock legend had long spoken openly about his struggles with Parkinson's disease, a condition he was diagnosed with back in 2019. But the truth is, Ozzy's battle with his health started much earlier. What many fans didn't know, until now, is the full extent of his long, painful and private health journey. And we're about to take you through every heartbreaking step. For years, Ozzy Osbourne endured a series of intense health complications that slowly took a toll on his body and spirit. While the world knew about his Parkinson's diagnosis, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, he was enduring a quiet war, one filled with surgeries, slow recoveries and moments of deep frustration. It all came crashing down in 2019. Ozzy suffered a serious fall in his home, an accident that made an old injury far worse. That older injury stemmed from a nearly fatal quad bike accident in 2000 that left him with damage to his neck and spine, but the 2019 fall re-injured that same area. Only this time, it was even more severe. Doctors later confirmed he had fractured his neck again. The worst part, he had no idea how bad it really was until it was too late. Despite the pain, Ozzy had continued to perform, tour and stay active, masking how much he was truly suffering. But after the 2019 fall, everything changed. He underwent multiple surgeries to repair the damage. Metal rods were placed in his back. His spine deteriorated further. He began losing balance, strength, and control over his body. Recovery was slow and agonizing. At times, he could barely stand or walk without assistance. Weeks would pass with him confined to bed, unable to move. The loss of mobility led to muscle wasting, draining his energy and making the fight even harder. It felt like he had to relearn his body from scratch, a process that tested his will like never before. And this was all while battling Parkinson's disease, a progressive disorder that attacks the nervous system, slowly stealing the ability to move, balance, and speak clearly. Though Ozzy had actually been diagnosed in 2003, he kept it hidden from the public for over 15 years, only revealing it in 2020. As the disease progressed, it made him slower, weaker, and more exhausted. But even then, he kept fighting. According to his family, especially his son Jack, Parkinson's wasn't always the most difficult part. The toll taken by surgeries, falls, and years of wear and tear on his body became the true battle. Through it all, Ozzy's family stood by his side. Sharon, his wife of over 4 decades, remained his fiercest protector. She was there for every hospital visit, every doctor's appointment, and every decision. She became his voice when he couldn't speak, and his strength when he was at his weakest. Their children, especially Jack, were just as involved, helping him move, supporting him emotionally, and refusing to let him give up. The Osbournes, once known for their outrageous reality show, pulled away from the spotlight during this time. Their focus was solely on Ozzy's health, comfort, and dignity. But even as his condition worsened, Ozzy refused to let go of one dream: a final performance. Not for the fame, but for closure. That dream came true in July 2025, just weeks before his passing. In a one-night-only event, Ozzy reunited with his original Black Sabbath bandmates, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler and Bill Ward, for one final show. It was a farewell he had longed for. He was fragile, weak. He had spent much of the year bedridden, but none of that mattered to him. What mattered was stepping onto that stage one last time, to say goodbye not just to the fans, but to the life he had built through music. In the weeks leading up to the performance, Ozzy spoke candidly about how much strength he had lost. He talked about his body wasting away from inactivity, about feeling like a shell of his former self. But still he trained. With the help of physical therapists, he regained just enough strength to stand again and perform. He wasn't trying to recapture his old self. He wasn't trying to be perfect. He just wanted to be present, on stage, with his band, in front of the fans who had stood by him for over 50 years. According to Sharon, that final concert was everything to him. It gave him closure, a way to end things on his terms. And after the curtain fell, there was a calm in him that hadn't been seen in years. The fight was over. He had made it to the finish line just the way he wanted. In the final chapter of his life, Ozzy Osbourne showed a side of himself that few had seen. Not the wild rocker, not the TV personality, but the fighter, the man who refused to quit, even when his body betrayed him. The man who clung to his passion until the very end. Ozzy career. Ozzy Osbourne's journey into music began in the industrial heart of Birmingham, England during the late 1960s. A working-class kid from a struggling family, Ozzy had a rough start in life. But music became his escape, a lifeline that gave him purpose when nothing else seemed to fit. He wasn't formally trained, didn't master instruments, but he had something rare, a haunting, unforgettable voice that made people stop and listen. In 1968, he joined forces with 3 other local musicians, guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward. The band initially called themselves Earth, but soon rebranded with a darker, more dramatic name, Black Sabbath. Their music broke all the rules, slow, loud, gritty, and filled with thunderous riffs. It was the opposite of the upbeat pop dominating the charts at the time. In 1970, they dropped their self-titled debut album Black Sabbath, followed by Paranoid later that same year. A massive hit featuring now iconic tracks like Iron Man and War Pigs. With those releases, Black Sabbath didn't just enter the music world, or they reshaped it. The band is widely credited with pioneering heavy metal, and Ozzy's eerie, powerful vocals became the genre's defining sound. Throughout the 1970s, the band released a string of successful albums: Master of Reality, Volume 4, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and toured the world, building a massive global following. But behind the curtain, things were falling apart. Ozzy's struggles with drugs and alcohol were spiralling. He missed rehearsals, disappeared from sessions, and lived recklessly. By 1979, the tension reached its limit. The band made a painful decision. Ozzy was fired. The fallout left him broken. He locked himself in a hotel room, drowning in alcohol and hopelessness. But then came a turning point. Sharon Arden entered his life. Sharon, the daughter of music manager Don Arden, saw something in Ozzy that he couldn't see in himself. She believed he still had a future, and she took it upon herself to rebuild his career. With Sharon as his manager, Ozzy launched his solo journey, and it was an explosive comeback. In 1980, he released Blizzard of Oz, a smash hit featuring tracks like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley. The album proved he didn't need Black Sabbath to shine. He could stand on his own. He followed it up with more hit records, including Diary of a Madman, Bark at the Moon, and The Ultimate Sin. During this era, guitarist Randy Rhoads played a critical role in shaping Ozzy's new sound. But tragedy struck in 1982, when Rhoads died in a plane crash while on tour. Ozzy was devastated. It was one of the deepest personal losses of his life. Despite the heartache, Ozzy kept moving forward. Through the late 80s and 90s, he released more albums, including No Rest for the Wicked and No More Tears. The ballad Mama I'm Coming Home became a radio staple. Along the way, Ozzy gained notoriety for shocking on-stage antics, most famously, the incident where he accidentally bit the head off a bat during a concert. It became legend, feeding into his dark, unpredictable public image. Then came an unexpected twist in the 2000s. Ozzy and his family starred in a reality TV show, The Osbournes, which aired from 2002 to 2005. It gave fans a never-before-seen look at their chaotic but loving household. The world saw a different side of Ozzy, not just the wild rock star, but a quirky, confused, foul-mouthed yet endearing father and husband. The show was a cultural phenomenon and even won an Emmy Award. Sharon, Kelly and Jack became stars in their own right. Amy, their eldest daughter, chose to remain out of the spotlight. Even while on TV, Ozzy continued to make music. Albums like Black Rain, Scream and Ordinary Man showed that he hadn't lost his edge. He even collaborated with new generation artists like Post Malone and Travis Scott, proving he could still connect with younger audiences. Meanwhile, Ozzy also returned to his roots. Black Sabbath reunited for tours in the late 1990s and early 2000s. In 2013, they released their final studio album, 13. Their farewell tour, titled The End, concluded in 2017, celebrating nearly 5 decades of groundbreaking music. Over his remarkable career, Ozzy Osbourne has sold more than 100 million records worldwide, combining his solo work and Black Sabbath catalogue. He's won multiple Grammy Awards, including Best Metal Performance, and in 2006 was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with his original bandmates. He also founded Ozzfest, a legendary metal festival that gave a platform to rising heavy metal bands for over a decade. It became a cultural event of its own, further cementing his legacy as not just a performer, but a champion of the genre.